Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the We Can Do Better Words from the Underground charity live stream. My name is Will Putney, and I'm going to be your host for this event. Everybody who's here today, who's watching, has undoubtedly had a lot to process these past few weeks. I feel like every day these tragic events are playing out before our eyes. The whole isolation and stress of the COVID pandemic combined with what I feel like is a failure of our police organizations and local, state, and federal government officials to respond to people have brought this country to a really dangerous moment in time. I just want to be honest with you. I am not super comfortable doing this. I don't think I'm a politician. I'm definitely not a podcast host. I literally produce records for a living and I write music with my friends. I'm a white dude who grew up in a middle-class suburb. And I don't think I'm really qualified to be any kind of mentor or to understand the struggles of the Black community at all, or the LGBT plus community, or the struggles of immigrants, or Native Americans, or women who battle sexual harassment and are victims of abuses of power, and everybody else oppressed by a system in a country that time and time again just fails to follow its founding statement that all men are created equal. This was a reaction. It was a reaction, a personal reaction that I think is the sum of all the parts that have kind of forced this into motion. Just watching unjustified crimes and unpunished criminals, all of these longstanding systemic issues that could permit cops to murder a man, George Floyd, while three others just watch and do nothing. And it takes a fucking riot in the streets and a bunch of targets get burned down before they're even held accountable for it. Or Breonna Taylor, who's a essential worker who could be just murdered in her own house because of like some no-knock warrant that let cops just smash into her house. And then they outlaw the action and the killers are still in place as police officers. And I'm just reading comments justifying murders because people broke laws, and I'm just over it. I don't even need to cite examples. I don't have to sit here all day and read this off. You all have social media, and you've heard these stories. You've heard these stories for years. Your parents have heard these stories, and your grandparents have heard these stories. But today, where I am in life right now, I just think we need action. We need complacent people to wake up and help support movements for positive change. We need to pressure those in power to enact change on all levels of government, the economic systems, all the cultural biases, and honestly, change within ourselves. Recognize that we don't teach a generation of children in school about atrocities committed in America against people of color, that we let things like redlining happen and destroy communities, that we let qualified immunity happen, that we let wealth theft happen, that we exploit classes for personal benefit. And people have the nerve to act shocked and surprised when, after years of peaceful attempts and taking a knee in a football game and peaceful protests, that situations escalate. Of course, they're going to escalate. It has to escalate now. You can't back people into a corner when they have to fight for their life and their basic human rights and not expect them to fight back. But more importantly, well, not more importantly, but also it's a lot of this is about our ways of communication and our ways of understanding sort of the more subtle layers of racism and bigotry and stereotyping that have existed under our nose, from the day we were born. It's the ability to recognize our apathy and our flaws and our egos. I feel like at some point in your life, you kind of have to ask yourself these questions, does my privilege and my level of comfort, does my social status and the opinion of my friends and family, does that matter more to me than doing what's right? I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about white people. I'm talking about everyone. This event is really about communication. It's about being more understanding. It's about recognizing your flaws, and it's about listening. Listening is a big part of this for me. I think everyone has an opinion. You just got mine. This isn't really my fight, and the best I can do now is listen, be an accomplice for the Black community, follow their lead as they can open the doors for real change, and not just for, this music community or the Black community, but for all people of color and everyone who's oppressed. And I think that's what we all intend to do today, because honestly, I think that everybody can do better, Before we bring on the first guest, I would like to thank all the artists involved over this 2-day event. All my friends in bands and managers and label dudes, everybody I called immediately said yes to this. And it was very incredible to realize that the company I keep is full of wonderful people. So thank you. I also like to thank my new friends and a lot of the speakers today who I actually meet face-to-face for the first time, live stream right in front of you, specifically a lot of the Black artists who are probably very overwhelmed right now, taking like 15 minutes to talk with the music community today and share stories and insight and guidance. I feel like that's what we need right now. So I do appreciate it. And everybody else who's reached out and offered advice and criticism to help me create a diverse lineup and bring in guests from all different walks of life. Everyone who's helped share and promote this event. All my guys at Graphic Nature who helped organize this, the Sound Rink guys who helped organize this. Thank you all. I do believe everybody who's here today is here for the right reasons. And I know that some people are more outspoken and more comfortable voicing their thoughts in a public forum. Some artists are probably going to come on here and, just talk about music and may not feel super comfortable carrying some kind of politically charged conversation, or want to feel, maybe they just want to remain a little reserved, let voices of the Black community kind of resonate louder on this. All I ask is you don't judge anyone or hold anyone to the fire who's decided to be a part of this event. I think everyone's here to learn. Obviously, everyone who's here is here to support the same cause. So I do appreciate all the guests that are on here. And if I haven't punished you enough on social media, plus with my bands, I feel like I should mention the charity raffle. We're doing a $10 charity raffle. You can click that donate button. A minimum of $10 automatically enters you into a really, really massive and awesome giveaway. There's tons of guitars, test presses, big vinyl packs from labels. There's pedals, there's merch, all sorts of rare collectibles. Tons of people donated. We'll go through, all that stuff, when we take a break later and stuff. But you can click that link. You can see all the prizes. The top 3 donations are going to get to pick their prizes. So if you really want something, throw a big number out. And if you're one of the top 3 donations, you can pick what you want. All the donations for this are going to be going to be split evenly between 3 charities: the ACLU, the NAACP, and the Black Visions Collective. They're all 3 very different charities with different approaches, but together I feel like, from everyone I've spoken to, I feel like this package tackles the civil rights issues, equality issues, criminal justice reform, community relief issues in a pretty well-rounded and productive way. I do think all this change we're talking about that we need is going to take some time. Governments move slow. And aside from burning down the whole country, the only way forward is to stay at this fight for the long haul. I think these charities are experts at the long fight. So every dollar you donate today is going to help these charities stay funded for as long as possible. And if you've donated already, everyone involved in this event is, truly appreciates the gesture. So, all right. It's enough bullshit for me. Hang tight for a second. I'm going to go get my first guest, and we will be back at you shortly.